Hi everyone, my name's Victoria Harverson and I'm the Global Head of Sales and Business Development for the SmartStream Air solution at SmartStream Technologies, and I'm based in Singapore. We are very pleased to be organising this session for the online executive conference in Japan. I would say middle and back office operations and transformation solutions are really very much the core of our business at SmartStream. And today I plan to present our latest AI data management technology and how we're using artificial intelligence to disrupt data reconciliation processes. Hopefully I can keep you engaged and there will be some interesting ideas, and if you'd like to find out more about our SmartStream Air solution, please do get in touch with us. Now, first of all, let's kick off with why did we go to market with SmartStream Air? And when it comes to data integrity and reconciliation, why is this a challenge? What are the problem statements? So you can consider growing volumes of data that all need matching across multiple sources and checking for accuracy and completeness. Particularly over the last few years with the global pandemic, getting customers transitioned to online businesses really has meant a huge increase in online transactions, new types of data sets, new types of cybercrime to address. And when focusing on the data reconciliation problem, you're really focused, or you're faced with this challenge in that top statement there. You've got high volumes of data which are always growing as your business grows, and you need to process low quality, very messy data from multiple internal and external disparate systems and sources. And all of that data will come in lots of different formats. The underlying complexity of the data and what you need to do with it is also always changing. And we're still often relying on analysts and human effort to understand the data and do a lot of that problem solving themselves. Now, we recognize that there are existing, well-configured, more traditional reconciliation solutions available that will solve quite repeatable data reconciliation critical processes, especially when it comes to sort of financial accounting and cash accounting and the sort of constant complex balance checking and proofing of cash flows. But often traditional models and traditional solutions, they can require some ETL of the data, and a reasonable amount of data preparation is needed. You also may need IT skill sets and specialist resource. You'll need IT projects and long-term sort of configuration and maintenance of your processes when it comes to reconciliation. You'll need to look after that system over time. And we realize that if you don't have extremely agile, flexible technology solutions for reconciliation, then often you have business or you have individuals in a business that will want to solve these problems themselves. And what tends to happen is they will look to manual models. They will set up spreadsheets and macros and use databases and various manual models to do data reconciliation. And this really has a number of issues which I've highlighted on the screen here. Unsustainable risk, so you will often have human error when you're doing things manually. You have key man dependencies, so if you have an individual who designed a manual process for you, then leave the organization, that's going to be very problematic. You have a lack of audits. It's very difficult to audit manual processes, and a huge amount of data will go unchecked. Reduced productivity is an obvious issue. Time and resource drains. You've got little agility and inability to react if you need to do something quickly or make changes or add new products to be more competitive in your market. If you have manual models for data reconciliation in place, this is going to be an issue for you, and it's very difficult to sustain manual models, and traditional tools are often not flexible enough to reconcile all different types of data. So this is one of the reasons that we went to market with SmartStream Air. Why did we actually build an AI reconciliation solution to solve this problem? We wanted to allow organizations to match any data for any reason in an instant on a very self-service model. So that would mean you are empowered to manage data yourself and you shouldn't need to engage IT projects. That's what we wanted to achieve. We wanted to lower human error risk at the same time of reducing all the technical complexity, dramatically lower operational costs and create efficiencies. We wanted to be cloud native and ready for use on day one with this type of delivery model, so we could make it ultra fast to deploy the solution, make it agile and make it easy to develop on and flexible to build new features. And we also wanted to allow artificial intelligence to learn from your reconciliation behaviors, learn how you match data so it can create significant efficiencies over time. Our innovation labs created Air to provide pure AI automation of all data integrity tasks, accelerate technology projects that you have, provide you with technical and business agility at very, very fast speeds. With a SaaS, software as a service model, we want to remove implementation and professional services costs and all IT project delays, radically reduce human effort and time spent on data checks so that your people in your business can be focused on adding value in other areas or just really working on the errors in the data. We wanted our clients to be ready for future requirements and unknowns, and AI is perfect for that type of issue. We wanted to lower risk and ensure absolutely nothing gets missed in your data. Now let's have a look at some of the traditional tools for data reconciliation on this slide here. So starting on the left-hand side, an organization might be receiving multiple file types in various formats and lots of different structures and from various different data sources. And the first phase on the left will be for a team of business analysts often to take that data and do the data analysis and the design phase themselves. So they are going to be looking at a broker message potentially, breaking it down, understand which field needs mapping from one external data set to the other. It might mean looking at an asset ID or a broker ID and figuring out if it correlates to an ISIN or a QSIP or a text field. This type of work can take days and weeks depending on the file size and the quantity and the data quality of the source that you're working with. Now, after the business analysis data phase, you would then need individuals to shape that data to actually fit the schema of a more traditional tool. So most traditional tools are schema based, meaning the data has to be shaped into a specific shape to actually fit that tool, which can be very time consuming. Then you would have more individuals that would work on the configuration of the rules and the matching logic for the data reconciliation. This gets the business team involved. They give their criteria for matching the data, often as a business requirements document. That business requirements document will say what represents a successful or a non-successful match, what tolerances should be applied, And essentially, the business analysts and the IT teams need to communicate back and forth to each other. And the business can become quite dependent on IT for this, and it takes a long time. Another challenge later on is making an iteration to the data reconciliation. If you want to change the configuration of the match rules and the logic, you would need the business to engage the IT team again, and you may be waiting in a queue for the IT team to essentially deliver your change to that reconciliation. And I've represented that with a loop, as you can see on the screen here, of the BRD, BA and IT iterations. This can be something that can be measured in days and weeks. And in fact, if you look at the whole diagram from left to right, taking your structured, messy data from various sources and systems, using this traditional model, and then what you get at the end of the process is your unmatched items, your deltas, your breaks, the errors in your data. This can be measured in days and weeks on traditional solutions. Occasionally it can be months to get something up and running in production. So this is a representation of more traditional models. And represents a great deal of human effort. How does SmartStream Air approach the reconciliation challenge differently? So from the left-hand side on this diagram, Air is universally applicable to any structured data. So we can take Excel, XML, CSV, fixed width, Swift. In fact, we have also introduced an integration service which will enable you to load in any format of structured data. But the data won't need shaping prior to consumption. You won't need to make it fit a schema because Air is a schema-free architecture. So we'll enable you to drag or drop the files in manually, or you can do an automated upload using the API. We also have just introduced a few months ago on one of our latest versions, the ability to stream reconciliations. So that means as each data record hits the SmartStream Air solution, it will dynamically reconcile that data in real time, which is extremely compelling. It will mean our users get their breaks, their issues, and their, identifying the errors in their data in real time, which is really, really fantastic for any business to be able to have that. You don't need to batch reconcile. You can do it in real time. So going back to SmartStream Air, ingesting the data. Once the data is in the system, which happens very fluidly and quickly, at this point we hit the Start Air button and the AI does all of the data analytics for you. It does the data mapping and it does the self-supervised learning piece. It does the rules generation. It also does the auto-generated match rules generation. And at that point, you would be able to get a set of results which will show you all of your unmatched data items. And if you're unhappy with them as a user, or if you would like to change them, SmartStream Air gives you the ability to fully configure the reconciliation for yourself. So I suppose the point that I'd like to make here is that AI will understand the data for you. You don't need to understand the data. You can hit the Start Air button and the AI will reconcile the full process from one end to the other. If then you want to step in as a user and you want to manually configure your reconciliation, you can, which is fantastic. And one of the best features that we developed and launched last year was our affinity observational learning component. This is really fantastic because it means that once you have a set of results and you have a set of unmatched items that Air has presented you with, if you know that these things should be matched together, or you want to make iterations and changes because you know that the data needs to be put together in a different way, you will be able to make manual matches, and Affinity will observe your behavior and learn from your behavior. So it will create efficiencies over time. The next time you load in that data set, Affinity will have built an AI model with a certain confidence that it will show you on the screen that will enable that data to be even better understood and even better reconciled. So what you get at the end of this process with the SmartStream Air solution is all of your errors and deltas and exceptions will be exposed to the user, and from start to finish doing this process, let's say 20,000 lines of data can be reconciled in about 3 seconds. This is extremely compelling, particularly when you compare it to traditional solutions. And what we're doing is we're removing a huge amount of the human effort with artificial intelligence technology. Why is SmartStream Air different from other solutions? So I'll summarize that really it's a combination of these 3 things. The delivery model, the technology, and the scalability combined makes Air very unique. So in terms of the delivery model, there's no need to implement SmartStream Air. We can go live on the same day. It's a software as a service, cloud native application. So it means you don't have to wait for implementation. You don't need to pay for implementation. You just switch it on and it's ready for use. You also don't need to think about upgrades or support and there's no IT burden or requirements from your IT team. So the delivery model is extremely efficient. In terms of the technology, I've talked a little bit about that. We're using supervised learning, unsupervised learning, observational learning. We're using schema-free architecture, which is agnostic to low quality data, which is structured data of any format. We can load this all in the same at the same time and have SmartStream Air process the reconciliation. It can also stream the reconciliation and do everything in real time. You shouldn't need any training. Air behaves very much like a consumer application. So it's intuitive. And because the artificial intelligence is understanding the data for you, there's very, very little education that you need to use the tool. The technology also represents speed and agility. This AI technology completes the process, which is usually measured in weeks and months. We can do the same tasks in just minutes. Then we have the scalability elements. There really is no constraints to scaling volumes and adding new functionality with this system, and I'll show you that in a moment. We have a continuous innovation model. We develop new features every 6 to 8 weeks, and we do everything in microservices. So it's a very agile, scalable technology. And another thing to mention with scalability is the total cost of ownership. We simply charge an annual subscription license fee based on your usage and the volume that you process through the system. So it means it's very easy to measure it, and it can be very controlled, and you don't need to worry about additional costs in the future. So total cost of ownership is very easy to measure and manage and budget for. Let's have a little bit of a look at the actual technology itself and how we've approached building this solution. SmartStream Air is only about maybe 3 years old at this point, so we have used the latest technology. On the left-hand side, we're also partnering with the best cloud providers in the world, so AWS and Microsoft Azure, and the cloud provider obviously will handle security. And if AWS is spending $1 billion per annum on InfoSec, we are leveraging that investment, which is fantastic. But we do also have our own certifications in-house, such as PCI DSS or SOC 1, SOC 2, SOC 3 compliance, ISO 27001. These are, very, very robust security standards. All the data is encrypted. We've built everything on a multi-tenanted model also. And I think that we have an extremely robust setup in terms of our information security. Going back to the diagram, you can see the front end is built on Angular, which I believe is the same technology that is used for Netflix. We have business tools, and this layer is all Kubernetes and microservices. So we have ease to deploy and scale new features and services. Python is probably the best language for AI technology, which is what we predominantly use. Then we have our sort of high performance, very, very scalable back end on the system. This is schema-free architecture, and we give you the ability to integrate SmartStream Air to either a data lake or third-party tools. You can integrate Air upstream or downstream, so it works as a ecosystem within your business. It can slot in to your IT landscape very easily. So this was just a short summary of the nature of the technology and what's under the hood, and that this is ultra model, scalable, flexible, designed for high performance, and also highly robust, fail-safe, and information security is very robust in the system. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of a snapshot into that. Now, just before we move on to use cases and a demonstration of SmartStream Air, I wanted to give you an example of how you can use data analytics to further drive business intelligence. Now, within SmartStream Air, we would have a certain amount of data analytics that you can achieve on your reconciled data. But I think that this is an example of using something like a Power BI tool that will take your reconciled data via SmartStream Air and allow you to derive and extract even more value from the data. So this is a snapshot of how Power BI might allow you to slice and dice your data based on counterparty, geography, currency. This can be really compelling. There's a number of ways you can slice and dice the data as to which counterparties are causing you the most issues, or which breaks are taking the longest to resolve, for example. So being able to integrate SmartStream Air with third-party solutions and reporting and analytics tools was very important to us. So this is something that you can achieve yourself with integration. Something also that I hope to highlight during this conference and when we're talking about SmartStream Air is that we are approaching various areas of data reconciliation differently. I think we are unable to share too much about our exception management at the moment, but we are just about to launch a newly designed exception management layer for SmartStream Air, which will make it extremely easy for our users to take errors in their data, to take the breaks, to look at a high level summary of all of those outstanding items and what needs to be done with them, and to put them through a break resolution workflow, which is extremely easy and has very, very little manual touch points. We're doing a huge amount in this space, both this year with the new user interface design, which you can see a teaser of on the screen, and next year through some of our additional development work. We've got a lot going on with exception management, and I think for today's session, I just wanted to show a teaser of the user experience and the design of the UI. And before we go on to the demo, let's have a quick look at use cases and applicability. Where can you actually use SmartStream Air if you deploy it today? I think it's worth looking at these three pillars here and thinking about, if you don't have flexible tools in place, you cannot do these three things. You cannot control Excel and manual risk. You cannot optimize your data, and you cannot improve how you deliver projects. So a spreadsheet can be created for any number of reasons, but it's really impossible to remain in business without control frameworks in place to catch errors in transactional data. And this needs to scale as volumes grow and as your business grow and leave you fully compliant. So it's very risky to have trade position fee transactional data spreadsheets that aren't scalable in place. You need to demonstrate compliance. Now, you can see on the left-hand side, we'll enable you to reconcile trades, positions, fees, multi-asset transactions, payment data. It really doesn't matter what the data is. We're agnostic. I think on the data quality and analytics, you'd be able to link system data together, look at data lineage exercises, do front office to back office reconciliations. And then you have your IT and transformation projects. We're using SmartStream Air to do system migration and system replacement projects, meaning you can reconcile a database of old architecture versus new architecture, comparing new and old in various IT projects. We have QA teams in-house that are doing QA exercises that used to take 4 hours. They can do them in 4 minutes using SmartStream Air. So through automation of manual work with an AI-enabled SaaS solution, we can achieve control that really can be evidenced and cost reduction in time and resource, huge efficiency gains in terms of productivity, and we're ensuring errors don't fall through the gaps. We're giving you something that is auditable, that is scalable, and that provides you with competitive edge and business agility if you need to react quickly. We also have extreme return on investment. It's very, very fast to get your ROI based on the time to go live with this solution. There's a little bit more here in terms of use cases that could benefit from a solution like SmartStream Air, particularly in financial services. I would say any transaction reconciliation sitting on spreadsheets for any reason can run in Air. It might be an IBOR versus ABOR, so internal books and records versus accounting books and records. We know that it could take one person 10 hours a week to manage that type of process. And we know from projects that we've worked on in previous experience that $85,000 in resources could be spent on just doing that task manually. Things like checking basic fee and brokerage invoices for your brokers and your commissions and your expenses oversight. This is likely to cost about the same, probably $85,000 per annum, and it's highly valuable in your business to be able to check and perform these checks very frequently as you pick up changes in fees and make sure that you're not miscalculating things that you charge clients. I remember a financial institution that needed to match 18 derivative positions that took 3 days of copying and pasting. And the cost of that problem was around 2 full-time employees every year. There may be instances where you have external brokers sending multiple formats all at the same time, and no solution delivers you the results that you need in time. This type of work will end up being done manually. So there's a great deal of use cases here. Air is extremely agnostic and it works horizontally across a business pretty much on any data. Now, I think we have time to cover a quick product demo. I think this demo lasts about 6 minutes and it will cover some of the key concepts in the solution and really showcases the look and feel of SmartStream Air and gives you a good snapshot as to how the product works.
SmartStream Air is the latest in AI and ML data management and reconciliation technology. Air is delivered as a cloud-native SaaS product, allowing any user with the right permission the ability to log in from their browser, just like so. I'll just put in my password. Awesome. Air is designed to be a self-service and ultra-user-friendly product. In fact, we have built it just like a consumer application you might use on your phone, so you should be able to do everything intuitively with no training. Here we see the open screen where you can choose to run a new data integrity or reconciliation process, or reuse an existing configuration from the past. This is where you apply the new naming convention for a new project. Right, you can now manually drop in any file in any structured format. So let me just select one file. There we go. You can do Excel versus CSV. We do accept a number of different file formats and the combinations are endless. Unlike traditional solutions, Air is a schema-free architecture, so you should not have to clean up or ETL any of your files or data sources before upload, cutting out valuable productivity time. You can also use the API for automated submission of your files. We are very excited to announce our latest updates include the unique ability to stream reconciliations, meaning the ability to stream data items record for record into a data reconciliation process for dynamic matching in real time. Once you press the Start Air button, you are now initiating our AI to reconcile the data. Air is now comparing the files that were uploaded, doing any transformation work which is required, and providing you the best matching results based on the best matching logic. Air can reconcile around 20,000 rows of data in less than 20 seconds. And here are the results of that project. As you can see, we've got a very high matching result. You can edit the matching logic This will enable you to make sure that you have the right criteria in place for what you deem to be a successful match. If you make any changes, then Air will apply those changes to the data and provide you with the new set of results. The results page will show you all the exceptions on one tab, named Unmatched, and all the matched data under the Matched tab. So let me go back to the Unmatched. At this stage, you can now use our award-winning observational learning tool called Affinity to help you. To activate Affinity, you've got to first train it. You do this by examining the data, and you have to match at least one data set to start Affinity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort the data out by amount in ascending order. I'm going to look at my data and see if I can manually match any to start off with. And as you can see, we've got this here. I like the looks of this. I'm going to match it. And in the top right-hand corner, you can now see Affinity working. It is observing my actions. And as a result, that has now got a confidence level of 99%. On top of that, we have a new tab called Suggested. If I click on this, it will bring me here. Now I can click on Start Generating Suggestions, and what's happening now is that Air is applying this logic of 99% across all the remaining unmatched items. As you can see here, I've got a large amount of data that is matched. I can click on one set, and to see where the logic has been applied, I can hover my mouse over these 2 points here, which says Reference, which highlights the reference, and also the amount. I can actually now see all of the logic across the suggested box. If I like it, I click on match. If I disagree with the logic, I click on dislike, and the items will go back to the unmatched tab like so. I can also choose to accept all the suggestions, and the model will go through there. So let me very quickly show you what that looks like. Click on this, match all, and the AI will now kickstart again. And as you can see, the matches have all now happened. You're then finally left with your outstanding items due for investigation. You can export this information through a simple report by clicking on Report, and we export information in a number of different formats. We also have exception management coming, which is very exciting. This will be released the next few months, so please watch out for this. You also have the ability to export this information into a data lake, along with the ability to export the information into a business analytical tool if you wish to do so. This will enable you to derive even more value from your data. If I go over now to the left-hand side and click on Audit, within Air, you do have an audit log, which is very useful, especially when it comes to compliance and your own internal auditing, if you wish to do so. This will show you all the actions and usage within your Air account. If I go back to Dashboard, this will take us to the home page, where you now see the configuration that we have just set up and used. We can use this time and time again. Thank you very much for your attention and finding out more about SmartStream Air and how easy it can be to deploy and use the latest in AI and ML data management tooling. Take care and speak soon. Bye-bye.
I hope you all found that useful and informative. We're very excited about the SmartStream Air solution. So thank you from all of us at SmartStream, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of the conference event.